Hi everyone, my name is Joy Hipsch and welcome to the second episode of Around the Track. In this week's episode, I will recap the crazy but wet Bristol race weekend and discuss the playoff standings for both series. I also will discuss about the number 2 team's final appeal hearing on their L1 level penalties, the Goodyear tire test at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Code 3 Associates expanding its partnership with SHR, and the new NASCAR Heat mobile game that was released over the weekend. To wrap up the show, I'll preview the Richmond race weekend for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, and give my thoughts about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s retirement after the 2017 season. This past weekend, the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series made their annual spring stops at Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. The race weekend for both series got off to a rough start on Friday, with rain causing NASCAR officials to revise the on-track activity schedule, which included canceling Coors Light Pool qualifying for the Cup Series. Instead, NASCAR officials planned 2 55-minute practice sessions for each series. Since the qualifying was canceled for the Cup Series, Kyle Larson was awarded his 3rd pole of the season, his 2nd coming from the cancellation of qualifying. On Saturday, the weather was much better. The Xfinity Series took to the track for their 7th race of the season, the Fitzgerald Gilder Kids 300. Kyle Larson sat on pole and dominated much of the first half of the race, leading 154 of the first 162 laps and won Stage 1, but gave the Stage 2 win to Dale Earnhardt when he gave up the lead by pitting with several others around lap 165 to set himself up for the final stage. After Stage 2, the action picked up dramatically. First, Darrell Wallace Jr. got into the back of Brendan Gaughan, wrecking Gaughan and ending the day for Gaughan's number 62 RCR Chevrolet team and ending his chances of winning the Dash for Cash prize. A few laps later, with 40 to go, Wallace took a hard hit himself from the car of Garrett Smithley after the entire field bunched up behind Brandon Jones and Cole Custer, who got into each other with an assist from Larson. After all that happened, the race came down to Eric Jones using his front bumper to move Ryan Blaney up the track to make the pass for the lead. Eric Jones went on to win his 2nd straight Xfinity Series race of the season and his 2nd straight Bristol Spring Xfinity Series race. My thoughts on this race were that Kyle Larson was totally dominant early, but then his car just got away from him after halfway. Eric Jones once again wins Bristol. He won there last year, dominant, very dominant. He won the Dash for Cash prize last year when he was a full-time Xfinity Series regular. And surprise, surprise, Cup Series drivers dominated the race, no shocker. Daniel Hemrick won his first Dash for Cash prize, beating Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, and Brendan Gaughan. And I liked what Bristol did with the racing group. The bottom line was the preferred line for the first 225 laps, and for the short runs because there was more grip down there compared to the high side. But then the high line started getting a rubber, and that became the preferred line towards the end of the race, and for the long runs, because the cars would be loose in the beginning and then get tight so they'd push up to the high line. Kyle Larson and Ty Dillon were the first 2 guys to get the high groove working, so then everybody soon followed after. And Dash for Cash program of the race, Cole Custer was in the driver's seat before he got wrecked, but Daniel Hemrick drove a solid race and stayed clean to finish an impressive 5th to win the prize. And for the point standings, Elliott Sadler extended his points lead over teammate William Byron to 16 points. In playoff standings, Justin Allgaier and Ryan Reed are still tied for the number 1 seed with 5 playoff points, with each driver having 1 victory on the season. When NASCAR arrived Sunday morning at Bristol, it was raining. So NASCAR officials decided to postpone the 25th Annual Food Save 500 till Monday afternoon. Pole sitter Kyle Larson took the outside lane on the start of the race and set sail early and dominated the first stage, leading all the laps in Stage 1. Kyle Larson went on to lead the opening 202 laps of the race, but a pit road speeding penalty on lap 423 dropped him back to 17th on the restart. he went to work and rallied back to a 6th place finish. Mark Truex Jr. won Stage 2 but was caught speeding on pit road with 34 laps remaining, which cost him a chance to possibly battle Jimmie Johnson and others for the race win. However, he recovered from starting 15th on the final restart to finish 8th. Jimmie Johnson took the green flag from 11th and fell back to as far as 19th, but then quickly marched his way back up front, breaking into the top 10 around halfway through Stage 1, and then broke into the top 5 and finished Stage 1 in 5th. In Stage 2, Johnson and the number 48 Little Chevrolet SS held steady with the front of the field and took the Stage 2 green checkered flag in 3rd. With 106 laps remaining until the checkered flag, Jimmie Johnson took the lead for the first time in the race. The number 48 Little Chevrolet SS made one final pit stop during the final caution of the race and restarted in 3rd with 32 laps to go. Johnson then recaptured the lead once again with 20 laps to go and held off a hard-charging Clint Bowyer to secure his 82nd career victory, his 2nd consecutive victory, and his 2nd at Bristol, his 1st since 2007. This is the 11th time that he has won consecutive races in his career. Just like the Xfinity Series race, Kyle Larson looked very dominant early on and dominated almost the first half of the race. But then his car got away from him just like the Xfinity car did, and he faltered at the end. Mark Truex Jr. had a really strong car that could battle against Jimmie Johnson for the victory, but the speeding penalty on the final pit stop took that chance away from him. Johnson did again, proving everyone that everything is fine with the 48 team and that he can close the race. Johnson's car looked really sharp for final practice, and that strength showed up in the race on Monday, and he could really hook the bottom of the track better than almost everybody, even Kyle Larson. On the career wins list, he is now 1 away from Cale Yarborough and 2 wins from Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Allison. We are watching a living legend right now, and most people don't understand that, which I don't get why. They just keep criticizing him, even though he has 7 championships and 82 career wins. The racing groove at Bristol was very good. The bottom line was the preferred line for the short runs because it had a lot of grip. The high line was the preferred line for the long runs because that was where the grip was. And that's why Kyle Larson was so good in the beginning, dominating the first 200 laps of the race. Overall, I enjoyed the race a lot because people could run in both lines, and there was always action on the track somewhere. For the point standings, Kyle Larson extended his points lead to 27 over Chase Elliott. And for the playoff seedings, Jimmie Johnson is now tied with Brad Keselowski for the number 1 seed with 10 playoff points. They both have 2 victories but no stage wins on the season. This past week, there were a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First, the number 2 team's final appeal hearing on their L1 level penalties. The date for that final appeal of L1 level penalties has been pushed back. NASCAR officials said the hearing is now scheduled for 7:45 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, May 9th, at NASCAR's R&D Center in Concord, North Carolina. It had previously been scheduled for April 26th. Brian Moss will preside over the hearing. Second, the Goodyear tire test at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. 4 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series teams traveled to Indianapolis Motor Speedway this week for a 2-day Goodyear tire test. The drivers that took part in the test were Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, David Reagan, and Jimmie Johnson. One of the main goals of the test is to see if it is a good move to run a little bit softer left side tires for the Cup cars, which would add a little bit more left side grip for Indianapolis this year. Third, Code3 Associates is expanding its partnership with SHR by adding 4 more races to the partnership, which includes Danica Patrick's number 10 Ford Fusion featuring a Wonder Woman-themed paint scheme for 2 upcoming races at Kansas and at Charlotte for the Monster Energy Open. Lastly, the new NASCAR Heat mobile racing game that was released this past weekend by 704 Games, formerly Duesenberry Martin Racing. My thoughts on the game is that it's really fun and I have enjoyed it so far, and I look forward to playing it the rest of the season. The NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series head to Richmond International Speedway this weekend. My headlines coming into this weekend is that the track painted the exterior walls with red and white stripes to pay homage to the roots of the Virginia facility, which hosted its first race on the .75-mile track in September 1988. Another one, can Joe Gibbs Racing's Cup Series teams get back on track after a rough start to the season for the entire team? I think Hamlin, Kenseth, and Kyle Busch are all going to be really good at Richmond this weekend, so it's very possible that they turn their season around this weekend. Can anyone stop Jimmy Johnson's current momentum, or does Jimmy Johnson pick up a third consecutive win? He had a really good car there last year, and he has 3 wins there, so it's possible he could pick up a 4th win, but there's a lot of strong competitors that he will have to beat to win on Sunday. The NASCAR Xfinity Series takes the track for the Toyota Care 250 on Saturday afternoon for the 8th race of the season and for the 3rd Dash for Cash race. My favorites are Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson. Most of them have really run well there when they do run, and Justin could have won the race last year if he was not caught up in a wreck on a late restart last year. The Cup Series drivers are always fast in these races, especially Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. My dark horses are William Byron and Matt Tifft. These 2 drivers have been strong all year long and could win on almost any given weekend with the equipment that they are driving in. The Dash for Cash potential contenders, I think, will be Daniel Hemrick, who won last weekend's Dash for Cash, Justin Allgaier, who won the first one, Sadler, he's been strong all year, William Byron, he's been very good all year, Matt Tifft, Cole Custer, and Blake Cook, because usually small teams are really good at short tracks. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series takes the track for the Toyota Owners 400 on Sunday afternoon for the 9th race of the season and for the 2nd straight short track race. My favorites for the race this weekend are Kyle Busch, trying to rebound from last weekend, and he's really good at Richmond. Denny Hamlin will be strong because it's his hometown track and he has 3 wins there. Harvick, he's typically strong there. Johnson, he has 3 wins and is carrying a lot of momentum into this race. And both Team Penske drivers, because usually they're good there in the spring and in the fall. And my dark horses are Dale Jr. and Kenseth, because they're both really strong there typically. For the racing group at Richmond, I believe the bottom line will be the preferred line, but in last year's race the high line started to come in and work for someone like Jimmy Johnson, who led a good amount of laps in the race. It will be interesting to see if both lines come in again like how they did in last year's race, or will it just be a single groove racetrack. For the 3rd consecutive season, NASCAR is losing an icon. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be retiring from full-time Cup Series driving following the final race of the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series season at Homestead Miami Speedway. However, in 2018, he is scheduled to run 2 races for his Xfinity Series team, Junior Motorsports. My thoughts on his retirement: I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy for him and Amy on their next step in their lives together. I also like that he mentioned that he wanted to make the decision to retire and not let his doctors decide that. He will truly be missed by all, especially Junior Nation. My favorite memories of Dale Jr. are the 2010 Nationwide Series win in the number 3 Wrangler car, a tribute to his dad. That was the first race I watched after I came home from the hospital after my 2nd seizure. The 2014 Daytona 500 victory. He had a strong car in that race and won after a 6-hour rain delay, which caused the last 162 laps of the race to be run at night. The 2014 Chicagoland race, that was the first race I saw him in person, and I saw him up close at Kids Q&A session in the infield during the race weekend. The 2014 Fall Martinsville race, enjoyed seeing him beat Jeff Gordon for his first Martinsville clock, and seeing his emotions in victory lane after winning the race. And finally, the 2015 Coke 0400. He had the dominant car and held off the field, and I stayed up to watch the entire race, even though the race didn't finish till around 2:30 Monday morning, after the race was delayed a few hours because of rain. I do believe he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he has 2 Daytona 500 wins, and he has had a huge impact on the sport since he came in as a rookie, but especially after his dad died. I'm excited for him because he has had a great career and he has much to look forward to in his life. One thing different about Dale Jr.'s retirement is that unlike Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart's retirements, Jr. doesn't have a replacement driver being groomed to replace him. I believe there are really only 2 potential candidates to take the 88 ride in 2018, Alex Bowman and William Byron. William Byron signed a development deal with the team last August. He unquestionably is the future of Hendrick Motorsports along with Chase Elliott. He showed a lot of talent as a rookie in the Camping World Truck Series with a circuit-leading 7 victories. He's only 7 races into his Xfinity career, but is a solid second in points with 5 top 10s and 2 top 5s. However, I believe he is more likely to be groomed to replace Casey Kane in the 5 than Earnhardt in the number 88. Therefore, I think Alex Bowman should get the 88 ride for the 2018 Cup Series season because he's the most logical fit because he filled in admirably for an injured Earnhardt with 3 top 10s in 10 races last year and was welcomed by Junior Nation during those 10 races last year. Bowman, who turned 24 on Tuesday, has nearly 81 starts in the Premier Series as well as 5 top 5s and 50 Xfinity starts. He is still under contract to Hendrick Motorsports, and his yeoman work on the driving simulator has drawn praise from the organization and its drivers. So I believe Alex Bowman should be the next driver of the number 88 Chevrolet SS. Some potential career moves that I think Dale Jr. could do include becoming an analyst for either Fox Sports, specifically Xfinity Series broadcast, or NBC Sports, be a full-time Xfinity Series owner with his sister Kelly Earnhardt Miller, or possibly become a NASCAR executive. Overall, I would like to congratulate Dale Jr. on a great career, and I look forward to watching him during the rest of the 2017 season to see if he can capture his first Cup championship. That is all I have for the second episode of Around the Track. Thanks for everyone tuning in this week. Until next week, enjoy the racing from Richmond this weekend, everyone.